Hello BRBC Sunday School. We hope you are all keeping well. I wonder how many of you have had good weeks or okay weeks or maybe not such good weeks. We miss you and we're thinking of you and we're praying for you. I bet some of you are really missing your friends and some of you would like to go back to school, and maybe some of you are still enjoying being at home and being able to do your school from home. But wherever you are, please come and join me today. We're going to do Sunday school here in my lounge. We're going to start with a little game about choosing between what is maybe dead or alive, and I want you to help me decide. And I've got a friend of William's and he is going to help us decide what is dead or alive. So everybody say hello to Hupu. And our first object that we're going to have a look at is a stone. So if Hupu thinks the stone is dead, he will shake his head, and if he thinks it's alive, he will nod his head. So you decide and Hupu decides, and let's see who's right. So do you think the stone is dead, Hupu, or alive? That's right, it's dead. Let's have a look at the next object. How about this plant? Hupu, is this plant dead or is it alive? What do you think? What do you think? That's right, the plant is alive. Right, let's have a look at the next object I have. How about this flower? What do you all think? No, it's not a real flower, so it's dead. Right, Hupu, you're doing quite well. Let's look at the next thing. How about these flowers? Are they dead or alive? Oh no, they're not. They're dead. They're all dried out and dead. Should we look at something more? What about this giraffe? Could he be dead or alive? What do you think? No, he's not alive. He's just a piece of wood, so it's a bit dead. Right, I've got something else. It's quite exciting. Let's have a look at this one. So, Shinga, come here. Come here. What's here? Come. What do you think? Is Shinga dead or alive? I think she's very much alive. That's right. Right, down you go. Down you go. Come. Well done. Right, I've got one last thing to show you. Let's have a look here. An orange. What do you think? Do you think that's dead? Or do you think it's alive? That's a tricky one. I think it's dead because it's been picked off the tree and it's not growing any longer. But there's something inside this that could still be alive. And at the moment it's sleeping, but if you plant it in the ground, it would grow into another orange tree, and then it would have more oranges. And that reminds me a bit about our story today. Something that was sleeping, but then it comes alive. So let's have a look at what our story is about today, shall we? I'm going to read it today from a book, and it's called Jesus Wakes the Dead. One day, a man in great distress came pushing through the hundreds of people surrounding Jesus. His name was Jairus, and he was a leader at the local synagogue. He fell on his knees and he begged Jesus for his help. "Master, my daughter is dying," he sobbed. "She is only 12. Please come to my house, I beg you. I know you can save her and make her well again." Jesus set off with Jairus immediately, and the enormous crowd went with him. As everyone jostled along, they pushed and elbowed each other to get closer to Jesus. Suddenly Jesus stopped and he spun around. "Who touched me?" Jesus demanded, scanning the faces of those surrounding him. Everyone shifted about, looking nervous. "Master," said Peter, "it's such a crush. How can you ask if any one particular person has touched you? There are many people around you." "No," Jesus insisted. "When one person touched me, I felt power go out of me." His searching eyes landed on a woman in the crowd who had been bleeding for 12 years. She had been to many doctors, but none had been able to cure her. However, she had great faith in Jesus, and she believed that even if she couldn't speak to him, if she could only touch him, she would be cured. As Jesus walked along in the jostling crowd, the woman had pushed as close to him as she could, and then she had thrust her arm between the people in front of her. Her fingertips brushed his robe, and immediately she was healed. She hung her head, waiting to be told off, but Jesus smiled at her gently. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Your faith has made you well." All this time, Jairus had been waiting, growing more and more worried that they would be too late for Jesus to save his daughter. Now his worst fears had come true. As they neared Jairus' house, one of the servants approached, unable to look at him in the eye. Jairus' servant said softly, "Don't trouble the preacher any further. Your daughter has died." Jesus overheard this. "Don't be afraid," he said to the grief-stricken man. "Just believe. All will be well." They continued on to Jairus' house and found a group of people already outside the house weeping and wailing. "What is all this fuss for?" Jesus protested. "Jairus' daughter isn't dead. She's just sleeping." Jesus followed Jairus and his heartbroken wife, along with Peter, James, and John, into the room where the little girl lay, cold and lifeless. He sat beside her on the bed and gently took her hand. "It's time to get up now," Jesus said. Instantly, the little girl opened her eyes, stretched, and got out of bed, straight into the arms of her overjoyed parents. "Now, don't tell anyone about this," Jesus warned, but of course, they couldn't help telling everybody they knew. The news spread, and Jesus' fame became even greater than before. Well, wasn't that another amazing story showing us Jesus' power? We learn from the story that Jesus is omnipotent. I wonder if you know what that means. It means that his power is unlimited. And we've learned that Jesus has power over nature through the calming of the storm. And we've learned that he has power over the demonic forces when he cast the legions of demons out of the man. And here today we learned that he has power over sickness and he has power over death. Both the stories also taught us about faith. Jairus was taught to just believe, and the lady who was sick was told that her faith had made her well. They both put their faith in something that could be trusted, and Jesus, who has power over all things. And we do not need to fear, because we know that even in situations which we feel might be hopeless, that he is in control of all things, and he hears our prayers, and he is in control of our lives too, if we trust him. So let's have a look at the worksheet you've got today. See if you can answer the questions. And there is a little craft, there is a colouring page, and there's a word search. And there is also a memory verse with a link to a Slugs and Bugs song, which you might like to listen to help you learn the memory verse. We hope you all have a really good week. We miss you and we are praying for you. Goodbye, BC Sunday School. Take care.